Up next, our panel, Talent Talks, is moderated by film, television, writer, producer, and one trailblazing professor. Let's give her a warm welcome, Zhara Astra.
So my name is Zhara Astra. I am a writer, a producer, and I am a professor of female neurodivergent studies. After getting an adult autism diagnosis, I discovered that there are a lot of women and girls out there that are being left out of the equation. So I kind of went on a mission to help change the way that we view, diagnose, and treat autism in women and girls. And here with me I have the lovely Dani Bowman. Yes. Dani is an animator. She's the founder of DaniMation Entertainment, her company that she created at 14 years old and has since grown globally. She holds a BFA in animation and MBA in global strategy and leadership. She's dedicated her life to teaching her over 2,500 autistic and other ability students through her animation summer camps, her workshops, and personal classes. And if you recognize her, it's because she's also one of the stars of the hit show Love on the Spectrum.
And by the way, it's been confirmed, Love on the Spectrum got confirmed for season 3.
And this is Alex Astrella. He's an award-winning visual artist based out of Orange County. He's also the founder and CEO of Blu Star Productions, a company that was created specifically to empower disabled artists and creators across the globe.
Thank you.
So why we're up here, what unites our narrative on this panel is that we are all autistic adults who are working in entertainment and who have carved our own path, not only in this world, but in this industry that was not necessarily created with autistic people in mind. Yet here we are.
All right.
That's right.
Excuse me.
So Dani, you started your own animation company at 14 years old, which is incredible. What inspired you to do so?
So basically what really inspired me to start my animation company, I've always wanted to start an animation company, like ever since I was a little kid. It's typical, that's part of my childhood. So animation is not just an animation, it's not just a tool, but also a way of helping me visual think. Animation has been like a school of, emotion and communication. It always says, for example, animation teaches me the etches of faces, like, for example, what is it like to be sad? What is it like to be happy? What is it like to be angry? Animation has been like a helpful path about helping me grow up being on a person on the autism spectrum. And what inspired me to start my animation company? Well, when I moved in to live with my aunt and uncle, when I was researching, I've discovered that Satoshi Tariji, the creator of Pokemon, has started his company at the age of 17 years old. And I was like so amazed, determined that I wanted to beat his record. I was 14. I was 14 at this time. Well, however, I was not the only person that started DaniMation. I got the help from Sandy Vielma and Patrick Ida Miller, who are in the audience. Patrick is the one, and both of them are entrepreneurs themselves who both have their own animation, who both have their own companies. I asked, and therefore I asked both of them, how do you start a company? And they gave me the instructions, and I was like, okay. I decided to come up and register my name and my mission and my 5-year plan, and here we are. Patrick is the Chief Financial Officer of DaniMation. He's a co-founder as well. And Sandy is the chair and head of the marketing of DaniMation, and I am the founder and CEO of DaniMation. We've been running DaniMation for the past 15 years.
Wow. Wow. Well, what I love is that autistic people, we don't always communicate in the ways that are expected of us, and animation and art and filmmaking is a way for us to communicate in an alternative way, which I think is beautiful.
It is a great thing, and it's also it's the best medium.
Yeah. And Alex, so you're a filmmaker. You started your own company as well. We got some ambitious young people up here, guys. What initially drew you to filmmaking, and how did you discover your passion for it?
So what drew me to filmmaking, so I was diagnosed when I was 2 years old with autism spectrum disorder, and the doctors at the time told my parents, like, you won't probably be able to graduate high school or even hold a job if you do get beyond high school. And long story short, while I was receiving behavioral treatment, because my mom at the time was like, no, he's gonna succeed. I just grew an affinity for film, specifically with my mom, like taking me to the theaters and stuff, and it felt like an escape from the treatment I was receiving. And I just, I kind of was like whisked away to another world almost. And so then fast forward to while I was getting my undergraduate, against what the doctors said at the time, I went to undergrad at UC Santa Barbara and got my BFA in Film and Media Studies, and I knew, I was like, okay, I just don't want to be a consumer anymore. Like, I actually want to start making my own films. And from there, I started doing narratives, and it wasn't really my thing, no offense, but I'm not a guy to direct actors. I don't, it's just not my,
okay.
Not my jam. But then I got into documentaries, and I started kind of doing documentaries that like worked with underrepresented, underserved communities, and I just fell in love with it. And that's kind of how I founded Blu Star Productions, is because I still think, even though there's been so much progress made, the autism community is still kind of underserved, underrepresented, especially in the entertainment industry. And at the same time, I also I love working with kids through ABA treatment, like with the treatment I received. So while I was getting my master's in special education, I was still pursuing filmmaking and doing films in the kind of special education autism space. And so I was like, I want Blu Star Productions to not only be a vehicle for my own films, like serving the autism and special education community, but also a network where we can represent and get these voices heard, because I think right now it's like 2% or something that of disabled people that are actually like represented in the industry. So I think, and that's why this conference is great, to hopefully like buck that trend. And
What's wild is that the autism community is underserved in the film industry, yet we are everywhere. We're just not talking about it. Maybe there's a lot of people that aren't diagnosed or don't want to disclose that information. So, Dani, what do you think about disclosing your autism when you're coming into the entertainment industry?
Well, I would say disclosing a diagnosis for me is very important, is just because you just remind people that it's the diagnosis, it's the gift that some people would say, most of us would see it's a gift that most of them have. And it's great for me to be out there that I have a diagnosis. And not only that, but at the same time, it's very important to address that I also help people on the autism spectrum, help them turn their passion in animation into a career. Well, back then, I remember the time when I disclosed my disability, when I was getting interviewed to get an internship program. I was like rejected because even though I was at the top of the class, I got rejected for interviews to get an internship with formal education, with former animation studios, because I couldn't handle the questions. This is a communication barrier that people on the autism spectrum couldn't, that's the goal. That's why I'm just helping people on the spectrum be able to, and the employers alike, to help bridge that to break that barrier. How do you break that barrier?
Right,
so
we talk about it. I think
nowadays, I think it's very important that it's good to disclose your ability. And now I think nowadays people are seeing that they're going to find ways to break that barrier.
And there's a lot of big directors out there that we all know and love who I think it would be a huge service to all of us if they would just come out with it already. But it's individual. You all know who I'm talking about. Come on. Now, Alex, how has your unique perspective as an autistic individual influenced your storytelling and your filmmaking style?
Yeah, I mean, kind of similar to what Dani was saying. Like, I think for so many years, like, I kind of repressed. Like, I've always had a creative mind. You know, I've always come up with stories, and it gets me excited. So, you know, I'll have my stim in private. But I like wanted to. It wasn't until like I got to college, because, you know, honestly, like when I was in high school and I was in grade school, I thought, you know, I'll be on my deathbed before I tell people that I'm autistic outside of my immediate family. And from there, but going to college, it's like, wait, no, I think this is kind of a superpower, you know? I think this is like really a gift, you know? It's not something I need to like withhold in myself. It's something that I can like share with the world, and it doesn't define me, but it's like a part of me, and a really strong part of me. And so how that influenced my storytelling, you know, I decided, obviously, like, you know, I take feedback still and stuff, but it's like, I think I have a very unique vision because of my, like, autism. You know, I'm, like, just always constantly thinking in my mind, and most of it doesn't even make it down to paper, but, and I think because of my unique experience, like, having ABA treatment and, you know, being a private provider nowadays, it's like, I think it gives me a, you know, a good ability to like communicate in the autism world. It's like our latest film, it was about a neurodivergent theater troupe down in San Diego. And the awesome thing is they're getting paid to do these like theatrical adaptations of if anyone heard of the children's book Stella Luna, they did a theatrical adaptation.
Wow!
Janella Cannon was like at every performance too, the author. But yeah, she's in the film, but it's like just seeing these actors and them getting paid and being able to, you know, not only communicate with them and learn like what makes them tick and what makes each one of them unique, but seeing the kids in the audience at these elementary schools just like witnessing a neurodivergent performance. It's like, it's so cool. And again, it makes me think, it's like, wow, I can't believe like, you know, that I'm here now, whereas like 10 years ago, I thought like, I would be like the last resort to like tell people about my diagnosis. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Great thing.
Yeah. What about you, Dani? What unique strengths do you think autistic people bring to the world of animation?
I think the biggest strengths that most people in the world on the autism spectrum, we can hyper-focus. We can hyper-focus on the task if we're given the right accommodations and the chance we need to get every work done. Like for me, I tend to hyper-focus on tasks whenever things need to get done. And also another thing I've noticed, that me and the others on the autism spectrum, some of us can imitate sounds or animal voices, like if they can accurately like imitate something. Wow, like some people will be like, wow, someone can do voice acting impressions. People are like, I'm also impressed by students. And what I do, in addition to that, what I see from how hyper-focused the students are, is that if I see their strengths and weaknesses, especially from the students that I teach at my animation workshop camps, one in person and one-on-one sessions that I teach every year, and they say, and I be like, wow, that student's gifted, they have a strength. Let's just give them an important task.
I love that. I mean, I got an adult autism diagnosis, so I didn't start seeing some of my abilities as autistic strengths until then. I'm like, okay, I'm weird, I'm different, I'm this, but I think that when, like you said, when we're disclosing these things, you know, we can shift the way that we view our own abilities and view it as a strength and use it to our advantage.
That is true.
But with that, there are challenges, right? So Alex, can you share some challenges that you faced as an autistic filmmaker in this industry, and maybe how you overcame them?
Oh yeah, I mean, I still face it today, even though I'm proud of where I'm at. Like, I still think that, you know, doing like Dani was mentioning earlier, doing interviews and being asked all these questions and networking calls and stuff, I get flustered. You know, I still like get pretty flustered, and you know, I don't know these people. I'm not sure. I know they know about my company, but they might not know my whole history with autism and stuff. But that, you know, that can be certainly challenging, those one-on-one interactions and trying to like convey my point across like eloquently. But then, you know, I think an important part of that too is like I'll beat myself up over it afterwards. But then I'm trying to get more into like self-care and realize like, you know, it's okay. Like, you know, they like, I think sometimes I don't realize that the people I'm talking to might be just as nervous as me, or have their own faults. But yeah, I'd say communicating is something I'm still very much working on. And also, like I think I've gotten a lot better at receiving feedback. But I think at first, like receiving I've thought of it more now as like, okay, this is constructive criticism rather. And because at first I was like, oh wait, no, it's got to be like this certain way. And I think when I was a kid, I used to like stack trains in the line, so everything had to be so orderly. And I think I kind of applied that at first to my filmmaking, like it's got to be this way, it's got to be this way. And now I've been, that was a challenge at first too, for sure, like being able to like, I'm sure Dani.
I know how you feel when it comes to critiques, and especially because critiques are something that is supposed to help us get better.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like what I've been learning is that it's helping me like be better and see other people's perspectives. But yeah, those are, and again, I'm still growing, but I still definitely face those challenges today.
Well, tell me about it.
The communication aspect of being autistic can definitely be challenging. I found that I give apparently really harsh notes and feedback, and so I've been using a little tip, ChatGPT. I'll type in an email and I'll say, make this pleasant. And I swear, I have not been fired since. So.
Well, speaking of ChatGPT, it's supposed to be a tool that can help us, not replace us.
Okay, good point, good point.
True.
Okay, Dani, we only have a couple minutes left. Dani, what advice would you give other autistic individuals who are interested in starting their own business in entertainment?
Well, most importantly, for anyone that wants to get started in their business, don't be afraid to step your door out there. Go outside and go visit networking opportunities like Ziva Hollywood or CTN or any of the conventions. Also get your portfolio and your animation reels ready to show off your amazing work. Show off your amazing work. Show off your animation just like on your website or anything. Also, most important thing is, if you need help, it's okay to get help from your trusted friends, your family, who believes in your mission. And don't be afraid of failing. As what Jorge Gutierrez says, the taco of success always drips with a salsa of failure. Right?
I love that. Alex, we probably have time for one more. So what last tidbit of advice would you give to your fellow filmmakers out here who want to break, because the industry it's really hard to break into out here?
Yeah, no, it certainly is, and it's intimidating, and I think, like, especially, like I was saying, going on a Zoom call, even when you're not in person, it's still stressful, and like what Dani said too, like even if your first time might not go great, or you might beat yourself up about it, but like as Jorge said too, it's just like it's a superpower. You just got to keep grinding, is what I say. Like persevere, because those failures or perceived failures at the time will actually be like growth opportunities in the future, and you'll realize like, okay, this was, or at least I firmly believe this was meant to happen for a reason, and I really abide by that. That if you just keep your mind to it, even when you get rejections, or even when somebody tells you, like, my parents have told me so many times, like, this isn't a good idea, and I'm like, well, I'm going to stick with it. If you put your passion to it, it'll come through in one way or another. It might be tweaked a little, but if you're totally passionate about it, you'll like unconsciously realize that you're still like heading towards your goal, and the setbacks will make it all worth it.
Never fear failure.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Yeah,
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always pursue competence.